Well, the thing I want to do in this moment of, multi-crisis moment is to just comfort people and bring beauty into the world.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for the 5th season of Shiftmakers. I'm your host, Marianne Schnall, a writer and journalist. Over the course of my 2-decade career, I've enjoyed the incredible honor of interviewing a variety of remarkable changemakers, and it is my pleasure to share some of these insights from the past and present with you for this podcast. Welcome to Shiftmakers. As we find ourselves continually challenged in an unprecedented political climate while also facing global crises surrounding war, environmental threats, rollbacks to rights and freedoms, among other countless issues, I'm deeply compelled to share the second part of the special Shiftmakers episode about finding strength and resilience in difficult times. I encourage my listeners to listen to the first half of this 2-part episode as it offers additional insights, such as seeing opportunities for growth out of difficulty, the power of historical reflection, and the importance of self-care. Today, I wanted to shift the focus to wisdom from my archival interviews about turning pain into power, finding strength in community, the healing nature of empathy and compassion, strength found in activism, and how one can develop inner courage. Turning pain into power has been a theme I've often revisited in my interviews. It seems to be universal that some of our toughest times lead to our greatest wisdom. Here are some of my favorite insights from my archives on the topic. To begin, here is playwright and activist V, formerly Eve Ensler, who introduced me to that phrase.
When the community heals, you begin to heal. That's how we turn our pain into power, is knowing that that you're in this story with other people, that you're not alone in that story, and that your crisis, your depression, your sorrow, your sadness, your grief is not yours alone. I don't know how you do it by yourself. It's too big. It's too overwhelming. I want to be where people talk about their hearts and their vulnerability and their feelings and their insecurities, and where we all get to be ourselves without pretense and putting on airs, and where we get to like fall on each other and love each other and say, it's impossible world that we're living in. You know what I mean? And we have a space for grief and a space for joy and a space for absurdity in the midst of all this. And to just be in the struggle together, to be in the struggle. I mean, I remember in Guatemala, there was this beautiful expression that struggle is the highest form of song. And I always had that over my desk. It was just, it's just the notion that we're in this struggle to transform human consciousness so that we can be generous, so that we can invite everybody in, so nobody gets left out, so nobody feels excluded, so nobody feels shamed, so nobody feels it like they didn't add up or they didn't matter.
Author and speaker Lovey Ajayi Jones.
Yeah, turning your pain into power is in these moments of fail, in these moments of trauma, what is on the other side of it for you? And sometimes we will even go through it, and sharing our experience will help somebody else go through theirs. And that is power. You know, none of our experiences can be wasted or should be wasted, right? So my experiences can't be wasted. It can't stop with me. So that's why I'm also candid about sharing some of these moments, because somebody somewhere is feeling alone in theirs. Meanwhile, they don't realize, oh, I've gone through that myself. So I think one of the things that we can do to feel less traumatic about some of these moments of failure is to share with somebody and use it as a point of connection and use it as a point of common ground.
And speaking of the collective, here are some additional insights on the wisdom found in community. Former President of Planned Parenthood, Cecile Richards, from a 2020 interview.
The fact that we can support each other, and that the response from women out in the country who are really simply saying, what can I do to make things better? That feels like it's all worth it. But I do also really believe we have to take care of each other right now. And no one really knows what anyone is facing, whether it's someone in your family, whether it's just your own situation. And so I hope that we're all being kind and patient and supportive. I mean, collectively, we will get through this.
Actress, director, and writer Amy Poehler.
I mean, I look towards right now older people who are older than me, older women especially, who have navigated motherhood and in a career and a sense of self, and I lean on them quite a bit. And most of them aren't famous, they're just people that I know in my life. But I'm at a time now in my life where I'm really interested in people older than me who have something to share with me about how they did it.
U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett.
It's always important to just make sure that you have your real village, your circle, those people that love you when the lights are on and when the lights are off. Those are the people that will always keep you grounded and make sure that you are focusing on the task at hand.
And writer and activist Gloria Steinem.
If we're by ourselves, we come to feel crazy and alone. We need to make alternate families of small groups of women who support each other, talk to each other regularly, can speak their truths and their experiences and find that they're not alone in them, that other women have them too, that it's not their personal fault. It's a systemic problem. So it just makes such a huge difference.
Next, I wanted to explore some insights on the power that optimism, gratitude, and positivity can offer in challenging times. Again, Gloria Steinem.
I'm skeptical but optimistic. I'm not pessimistic, because I think pessimism defeats you before you start. I'm skeptical because it's important to be realistic and use our energies well, but hope is a form of planning. We can create our own hope.
Author, philanthropist, and media leader Oprah Winfrey.
I realize that my happiness is in direct proportion to my gratitude. And when I get off track, it's because I had stopped gratitude journaling. But it is really the truth that the energy that you give to being grateful instantly changes whatever the vibration, whatever situation you're in, if you can figure out something to be grateful for in that moment. And I would say that gratitude is a spiritual practice of mine.
Singer, songwriter, and philanthropist Dolly Parton.
Well, you got to try to be happy, just like some people work at being miserable. I mean, I was born with a happy heart. I want things to be good because it just kills me when things are not good. And if I wake up in the mornings and I find there's something going wrong, I try my best to see what I can do to make it better by the end of the day. And I pray hard about it. I work hard at it. And I just try to keep a good positive attitude. You can't change everything, but you can change some things. And by changing some things, it might change it enough to where it's bearable, or you might, can do something to lift somebody else's burden. Even when yours are too hard to carry, if you try to help somebody with theirs, yours don't seem as bad, I think.
And on that note, I wanted to share how many of my guests focus on compassion, empathy, and on our common humanity to find strength and perspective in difficult times. First, actress and activist Jane Fonda.
Trying to grow empathy within yourself is revolutionary. The step beyond empathy is compassion. That puts empathy into action, and that's the ultimate thing, is to have compassion. So you take your empathy for other human beings and turn it into active compassion so that you want to join with them and do something about it, whatever it is. Connect with people and listen to them and understand our common goals and suffering and joy, and it was that's the kind of thing that keeps me going and inspires me. And you can so easily forget, because we get tired and we busy, but our common humanity, we have to keep reminding ourselves of that.
Singer and songwriter Natalie Merchant.
Well, the thing I want to do in this moment of multi-crisis moment is to just comfort people and bring beauty into the world. That's all I can do. I can't save it. I can't stop these forces that have been in motion for hundreds of years. It's toxic situations that we find ourselves in. But the human who's sitting in front of me at this moment, I can comfort that human.
First female Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright.
The truth is that the human relations ultimately make a huge difference. And no matter what message you are about to deliver somewhere, whether it's one of holding out a hand of friendship or making clear that you disapprove of something that's happened, in many ways you realize that the person sitting across from you from the table is a human being. And so what you do is try to figure out some way to establish common ground. And it does happen to some extent, even at the beginning of the toughest conversations. You have to be able to put yourself into the other person's shoes. Unless you can understand what is motivating them, you're never going to be able to try to figure out how to solve a particular problem.
I also wanted to share some essential wisdom on the nature of courage and how one can foster it even in the face of discouraging circumstances. Again, Lovey Ajayi Jones.
Courage is a life habit that you choose. You know what I mean? Like, and you cannot have courage in the absence of fear. My relationship with it is every single day when I show up to say something that feels hard, in that day, I'm choosing to be courageous, right? I didn't just wake up and say, my personality is courage. No, nobody's born with a courage gene. It is something that you make a choice for every day. While I think fighting fear is a justice issue, is that when we allow ourselves to be complacent, when we allow fear to stop us from doing or saying these key things, it absolutely reverberates through our lives. You know, again, like, it can be an economic justice issue. If we don't speak up in a room where somebody is being treated terribly, it could be a social justice issue, right? If we are not speaking up as we're watching the world crumble, it's a systems of oppression issue. So all of these have tangible impact in our day-to-day lives, professionally and personally. We can't leave it behind.
Poet and author Dr. Maya Angelou.
Encourage us to try our best to develop courage. It's the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically, kind, fair, true, generous, but to be that thing time after time, you need courage. And we need to develop courage, and we need to develop it in small ways first. Because, you wouldn't want to go out and say, I'll pick up this 100-pound weight, and without knowing your capacity. So you need to find, I'll start by picking up a 5-pound weight, then a 10-pound weight, then a 25-pound. And sooner or later, I'll be able to pick up a 100-pound weight. Well, I think that's true with courage.
Activist and author Stacey Abrams.
It's okay to be afraid. Fear is normal and real and in its own way healthy. It is disingenuous for anyone to tell us that we shouldn't be afraid of racism or sexism or bigotry or homophobia or xenophobia. You know, add the ism that you want. And this notion that you should reject fear or reject that the outsider sensation that you have isn't real is untrue. It is real, but you can tackle it. And so for me, the tackling of fear, the confrontation of fear of shame, fear of disappointment, fear of success, fear is okay. Some people are born with confidence. Some people are imbued with it based on their circumstance. But for a lot of us, confidence is born of tragedy and disappointment, and the realization that we can still do more, and it's born of resilience.
Philanthropist and filmmaker Abigail Disney.
My advice is to stop assuming there's a point at which you won't be afraid. You're always afraid. So courage is fear management. It's not the lack of fear. So first of all, accept the fear, invite it in, get used to how it feels, so that when something's coming up for you, you go, oh, that's what that is. Because often the fear is only damaging when it dictates our behavior, right? So you weigh things against how important your fear is to you, how debilitating your fear feels, and you just check in with that every so often and make sure you understand the impact of what you're doing, and it gives you strength to keep going.
Lastly, I wanted to explore the healing and transformative power that actions, big and small, can have to make all the challenges we face feel less daunting and make meaningful change seem possible. Again, Gloria Steinem.
First of all, change is like a house. So you can't build it from the top down, only from the bottom up. So whatever small change we make will be like a pebble in a pond, reverberate outwards. And also it will be fun. I think it's important to understand what joy there is. And, we're meant to use all five senses. We're meant to be active and contribute to the world. What's the alternative? Sitting there and wondering, oh, if I had just done this, maybe. No matter how hard it is, it's harder not to do it. Gandhi said it all when he said, be the change you want to see in the world.
And Lovey Jahi-Jones on the concept of what she calls being the domino.
The United States is especially an individualistic country. And I think what we're seeing right now is what happens when everybody thinks I am for myself and nothing more, right? So being the domino is the idea that if I put myself on the line, it's with the hopes that somebody else will see that and do the same. If I speak up, it's with the hopes that it'll give somebody else courage to speak up. But usually we're waiting for that one person to start the thing. But what happens if we all go, I'm going to be the one that starts the thing?
Former U.S. Representative Cori Bush.
Change comes. Each one has to reach someone. Like look at it like that. But first, did you change you? Like, that's what I had to do. I had to change me. I had to be enough for me so that I could go out and understand that I had a voice to be able to help other folks. And then you give that to them. That's the other thing that you remember. Shine your light so that somebody else can grab it and then shine light on others. Like, don't hold that to yourself. If I speak to 10 people, now it's 10 people that now have that message so that those 10 people can now each go talk to 10 more people. And then look how we just multiplied that message.
And again, Jane Fonda.
What's in your gut? You're going to be the most effective activists are people that are working in an area that resonates from their gut, from their core self, that really matters to them. So you have to figure out what that is, and it can be children, it can be your community, it can be green spaces in New York, it can be working with teens, it can be peace, it can be the environment. I mean, there's so much that can be done. I was raised to feel that service, activism, is the rent you pay for life.
Kenyan social and environmental activist Wangari Maathai.
The story of a hummingbird that refuses to join in the rest of the animals when the forest is burning, and instead decides to go and bring water from the river with little beak, picks a drop of water every time and brings it and puts it on the fire. The fire is so huge, but the moral of the story is that it doesn't matter how small the action is. If we all do the little we can, collectively we can make a difference. Even though we think that that particular action at an individual level may be very small, just imagine if it is repeated several million times, it will make a difference. And so that hummingbird action may look very small, but it is very powerful if it is repeated many million times.
Environmentalist and activist Dr. Jane Goodall.
Just realize that it's not you alone. Together, collectively, we are making a difference.
Again, Amy Poehler.
Like any social cause, you just meet some people who are doing some things and you realize, these 40 children are different than they were a year ago, and these 250 will be different if I do this fundraiser, and then maybe by the year's end, 1,800 children will have this, and it suddenly becomes a real thing and not just this giant idea that you wish could get better.
Mayor of Oakland, California, and former U.S. Representative Barbara Lee.
Call to action. People want to do something. They're down and don't have hope. Help show the way. This gets down to the very micro level. People who are hungry, children who don't have clothes, and do something. And there are plenty of things you can do now, and that I have found lifts people's spirits. It sees that they can do something, and it keeps people engaged.
Again, Oprah Winfrey.
Your life is more enhanced when you can take what you've been given and give to others. So the idea is servant leadership. The idea is the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. The idea is using the fullest, highest expression of yourself in such a way that it changes not just you, but other people.
Again, Abigail Disney.
My vision of peace is that you're spending your life actively disassembling the barriers to people living just, fair, and fulfilled lives. And in the process, this is what I've learned, and I'm almost 60 now, so I can get to start saying old lady wise things. In the process, that's where you find peace. That's where you find fulfillment. It's the work that is the object, because in it, I have made every friendship, every relationship. I've found everything that was important for me to know and done everything that was important for me to do. It was the work that was peace.
And another word from V.
Believe that you can affect change. Part of it is the patriarchy and this whole kind of capitalist ennui that has come upon us, like this sense that we are powerless cogs in this huge machine. That idea makes us believe that there is nothing we can do to transform action, consciousness to make a difference. And don't spend your time talking about how it's impossible, how it's never going to happen, how the world is over, how it's bleak, because all that does is zap your energy. Do one thing every hour that is going to make the world a better place. One thing every hour. Be kind. Pay attention to the people who doesn't have something on the street. Lift up people. Look at a person who's feeling suicidal and go and sit next to them. Work with women who don't feel like they can get out of a violent relationship and support them until they can. Everything we do, whether it appears that way or not, right now we're keeping the balance. We're just keeping the balance so that we don't completely self-destruct. But if we go further, if more of us go further, we'll begin to tip it to the other side. I've been thinking lately, if I look at the authoritarians that are ruling the world right now, they are fully committed to their extreme project of domination and destruction. But to me, a devotion to revolutionary freedom is charging us with as powerful, if not more powerful, a commitment to going the distance, to not second guessing ourselves or telling ourselves it's too soon or people aren't really ready for the full story. My experience tells me that most people are hungry to be free. They just need a roadmap and others to encourage their imagination and desire.
And lastly, some final wisdom from Jane Fonda in 2020 when I asked her how she stays energized and optimistic.
My experience is when I start flexing my activist muscles, I start to do something that is bigger than me, that is helping a bad situation. I tend to not be depressed anymore. I tend to feel empowered. So my advice is always do something to help. When I became an activist, I started to know who I was. I started to feel okay about my place in the world. I knew how to move forward. And along the way, I saw so many other people change. And so I know that we have such a capacity to change, us human beings. We may be the only animals, because we are animals, Homo sapiens. We may be the only animals capable of profound human transformation. And knowing that gives me energy and optimism.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you will join us again.
Story producer A. Kirsten, research assistant Angela Joshi, visual design by Kyle Hollingsworth. To learn more about Marion Schnall, please visit marionschnall.com.